so many people now have the opportunity to look at the blueprint that you laid out. Like you said, of good, bad, ugly, and there's a dark side.
Hey, but right now, no, I'm talking right this second.
All right, Beach Balonze in the building, making a video on the MPC legacy. And somebody lied to you, and I don't know who it was that lied to you, but somebody lied to you. So there's been a lot of people talking online about MPC, the history of the MPC, how good the MPC are, which one is the best MPC, why you should have one without the other, ones that you can do without, why you should have a controller versus why you should have battery powered ones, whether you should have ones without battery powered, whether you should have a studio machine or something different that's a hybrid, such as the Force, MPC X, which is in a machine of greatness in its own right. The 4000, which I'm hearing is the best MPC that's ever made. Then you also got rack gear. You got the 5000 sampler. You got the freaking 3000 sampler. You got the S950. Again, you got controllers like the MPC Renaissance, which was probably before its time. Then you want to go into the realm of keys, having keyboards attached to your MPC. I mean, it don't get no better than that. And then, they got the MPC One. MPC One, which in reality, I will give y'all a backstory on the MPC One. When I first got the MPC One, I thought that it was a horrible MPC, and it was monotonous. I thought that it was just, I already had MPCs already, so the MPC One was like too much. But I come to find out, I am loving the MPC One. It is a great machine. The sonics on this joint is outstanding. Then you got the MPC Touch, which was the predecessor to the MPC Live One, which was my first MPC. Now, what the reason that I tell y'all that somebody lied to y'all is because my first MPC was an MPC Live 1. I moved from hybrid producing from a computer to hardware and also being able to use the computer and the hardware at the same time. So MPC Live was my first introduction into the MPC world because I was late in the game. Now, previous to that, I was a machine guy. I was a Native Instruments Machine Studio Mark II user. You couldn't tell me nothing about this freaking Native Instruments Machine Studio. You couldn't tell me nothing about this Machine Jam. And then I said, you know what? All the producers are using MPC Lives, MPCs. So let me go back and see what the deal is with these MPCs, right? So first MPC was MPC Live 1. Then I went from MPC Live 1 and then I added the MPC X to my studio. And then after I added the MPC X to my studio, I added the Akai Force to my studio. And then after I added the Akai Force and the MPC X, shortly after, um, I got the Live 2. I didn't believe that I needed the Live 2, but that has been my moneymaker in my studio. If I've ever made the most money off of any MPC, it's going to be this MPC Live 2. Something about the MPC Live 2 that gets my blood going. Um, I did not have any older MPCs, so the first MPC that I was introduced to was MPC 5000. And I can understand where Akai went with the lineage of the MPCs when I look at the 5000. What the 5000 can do compared to the MPC X and the Akai Renaissance, I truly understand what they was trying to do. And I understand how it went from that to that. I truly understand it. I understand how it went from that. I understand how they went from that. Now I don't have an MPC 60 or MPC 3000, but I've heard the stories and I understand it. I understand the workflow of the 4000. It is so many. You got so many buttons for everything. So all I want to say is that in this conversation about Sonics, somebody just had their own opinion about what they thought about NPCs. If you really want to be honest about it, I think somebody had their own opinion of what they thought about NPCs. And all the guys who say, "Oh, I'll never use a newer MPC. I'm gonna stay with the MPC 4000 and MPC 3000 and the MPC 1000 or MPC 2500, or I'm just gonna stick with my MPC 5000." Cool, that's your prerogative to stick with that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is a new century. A new century. Now we have innovations. We have updates, we have Wi-Fi, we have SD cards, we have hard drives that are in these machines. They are as powerful as the information that you can put in them. And I'm telling you that you can put information in these machines fast. And if you don't have a newer machine in your repertoire, you are missing out. I know that there's a difference between the older the older system, right? Y'all used to that older system. And now when you open up a new MPC or you open up a new Akai Force, now it looks a little bit different. So now you got to working with different workflows and different types of keypads and different notes that you can press to get sound. So it's it's different, but it's all about the actual beat maker behind the scenes making the music and how much work you want to put into it. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. At the end of the day, it's about how much work you put into it. If you never put the work into it, you're not gonna have the beats to sound like you want them to sound. And if you're just here to make noise and make music, that's fine and good. If you're here to sell music to artists, that's fine and good. If you're here to sync music, that's fine and good. If it's just here for something as big as your mental health, that is fine. But please, by all means, don't talk shit about the equipment that you have not tried, you have not put your fingers on, and that you haven't put the time into. Now, if you've tried it all and you don't like it, fair. You reserve the right to not like it. However, I'm just a believer in putting the work in and getting to it. That's why I have these machines, because I could not sit here and use all these NPCs, the newer machines, and then hear all these people online talking about what's the best and how you can use it and the sonics of it, and not hear it for myself. Now, I'm not one for diving. I'm not one for going through a whole bunch of menus. So some of the machines you get lost in translation for digging in the menus. And some of the machines, such as the 2500, it does exactly what it needs to do. A machine like the 5000, it does exactly what it needs to do. The 5000 and 2500 is almost identical. The only difference I'd say in the two is that you have two of these, two of these, and this joint you got four, and you got eight, and then you got more real estate. It's a lot bigger. But what I want to say is I understand it. I understand it. You know, the dudes say, "Oh, I understand it now." I understand how it went from the 5000 to the MPCX. That was a great move. If Akai would have stayed with the old format, then we just wouldn't be they wouldn't be competitive with all the other people that have drum machines such as Teenage Engineering. Um, let's go around to the Roland SP404 Mark II, the Ableton Push 2, the Ableton Push 3, the Ableton Move that's over there. There's a lot of machines that they wouldn't be able to compete with if they wouldn't have moved into the new MPCs. You also got my favorite, the S2400 right there. I mean, ain't too many competing with that. But anyway, get to work. This is the LM drum. This is a the Behringer LM drum. This is off of the Lindrum machine. Then I also got in my studio the MV8000. This is not the 8800. That is the cover for the 8800, but it fit this one, and that's the only one that I can get. Um, I have not dug deep into this machine, but I'm being told that it is the best machine that you can have in your repertoire. So I got one, and one day I'll get to it. And here's what everybody is missing: the actual controllers that run the MPC software is so dope. They are MIDI controllers that can be used in any DAW. So if you are caught up on what type of DAW you're gonna use, and you are needing a MIDI controller, boom, Akai does have MIDI controllers that you can run your MPC software as a VST into your DAW of choice, or you can use this into whatever DAW you want to use to make beats and have 16 pad layout. And the other crazy thing, or not so crazy thing about it, is that you can run your machine in controller mode and run your actual standalone MPC as a controller into, see that? You can run it into your machine. So that's what's lost on people, that they still have great controllers that run as MIDI controllers into the software. Now we're waiting on Akai to update the actual software to run with the new machines and to run with the 3.0. I know this is right now I'm in controller mode, so it's showing the old 2.15. But when I go back to um, regular old standalone, then the machine is going to revert back to the 3.0 software. All right, so while that's doing that, I just want to just talk about just controllers. Like, the Touch was an incredible machine, and once they get their shit together with with the drivers, it will continue to be an incredible machine. And but this MPC Studio, way ahead of its time. I'd love to see a MPC Mini with the MPC Studio guts. And then, like I said, back to 3.0, I think they did an incredible job with 3.0. If you know how to use 2.15 really well, then 3.0 is going to be a no-brainer. They just updated the way it looks and kind of the way it works just a little bit. They got the programs out of here. Now you just have regular tracks, which is cool. You just got to figure out the way that it works and the way that it works for you. But if we're talking about the best machines that you've ever put your hands on, I'm hands down saying that the Live 2, the Live 1, which is pretty much the same machine, but the Live 1, Live 2, and the MPC X are one of the top machines that you could have as a producer, and you probably should have one in your repertoire. And then the Akai Force, man, I love the Akai Force. Also, a great machine to have in your ammo toolbox. Now, this boy right here, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. When you're ready to play with the big boys, then you come over to the Key 61. And again, like I told y'all, I won't reiterate and beat a dead horse, but MPC1 is dope. It is really good for entry level producers and experienced producers. I don't have the Key 37 because I got the Key 61, and I'm waiting for Kai to drop a new MPC. And so that's where my money will be going, for their newest MPC. Um, if that comes to fruition, when that comes to fruition, I know that's going to happen. They got to. And then again, like I said, um, just what it is. So anyway, Beats by Lonze. This is my take on it. Like I said, everybody can't afford to have every machine, but if you can have a machine, I would suggest that a Live 1, a Live 2, an MPC X, any of the three newest machines, I would recommend you having those machines in your repertoire. Stop listening to what everybody say about Sonics and who sounds the best and the best machine, blah blah blah. Anyone can be the best machine if you know how to use it. However, you can't just shit on the old shit if you've never used the new shit. And you can't shit on the new shit if you never used the old shit. Um, so that tells you that, that'll tell you where you need to go from there. All right. So again, Beats by Lonze. Check y'all out on the next video. If you made it this far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified when I got videos. I got over 1,800 videos on my page, so y'all got some work to do. All right. Peace.
What's up, Beats by Lonze family? Have you got your merch yet? If not, just click on the link, gurumerch.creator-spring.com.